offering we're very...
Brentwood Half. Completed it, mate. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be recapping the Brentwood Half Marathon that I did this Sunday. We'll go over the race itself, how I felt and what the outcome was, but we'll also go through some things like what I did prior to the race and what I did after the race as well. So to start off, I thought it'd be good for me to give you a bit of an update as to where I'm at training wise and what training I've done leading up to this race. I have been training for a full marathon where I'm going to attempt to run in under 3 hours, and we're only 2 weeks away from that now. But in terms of half marathon training, I haven't really done all that much, to be honest with you. I've been pushing the pace a little bit past my marathon pace, but not too much. But I have been doing a few things different this training block. I've done a lot more things like track and interval sessions, and I've also done a lot longer runs as well. So I'm feeling the fittest that I've ever been. So going into this race, my personal best was 1:27.37 for the half marathon, which I set a few months back in the Malden Half Marathon in October. So similar to this race, Malden Half Marathon was 2 weeks before Chicago, which was my main goal race, where I was also trying to run under 3 hours. So I was at the same point of the training block, but this time around, as I say, felt a lot better going into it. While I haven't been training for an exact time or anything like that for this half marathon, I did want to run a time of 1:25 something, so under 1:26 was the goal. And yeah, that's the sort of pace that we set out at 4:05 a kilometre. So the week leading into the race, I wanted to make sure that I had fresh legs for the Sunday. So I brought my mileage down to about 65-70 kilometres. I usually am doing a bit more than that at the moment during marathon training, but we're taking this as an early start to the taper. I also tried to make sure that I ate healthy and ate a lot of protein at the beginning of the week to make sure that my muscles were healing up nicely. I also did a lot of recovery, stretches, and I did a bit of strength workout as well. Friday I ate more just normally, just a nice balanced diet, but Saturday I did spend a lot of the day eating carbs. I had some rolls in the morning with a bit of bacon, and then also had things like cranberry juice, ramen noodles, and also some sweets to boost the carbs for me for the day, and then a big bowl of pasta in the evening to make sure that I was ready for the morning. Okay, so race day gear. I've gone over this in my other video, but I'll go over it quickly now. So starting at the bottom, working my way up. The shoes that I wore were the Nike Alpha Fly Freeze. I've got the Flaming Edition, whatever you want to call them. I've seen them called a Keen Edition, Habanero Edition. I'm not too sure exactly what they are, but yeah, the ones with the flames on. Leading up to the race, I had a pair of these which for some reason decided to break after only 30 kilometers of training runs in them. So I did send them back, switched over to the Adidas Pro 4s. However, they gave me some mega bad blisters and I had to do a last minute swap back to another pair of Alpha Flies. So these were a pretty brand new pair. I'd only done about 12k in them leading up to the race, but I have trained in them before, so I knew they weren't going to give me too many problems. To go with them, I got some matching socks from a company called Soctopus, and yeah, they matched perfectly, gave me amazing race day looks. For shorts, I've recently just bought some Adidas half tights. I've never used half tights before for a race, but I wanted to for this one. I've always used 2 layered shorts where I have like tights underneath and then shorts over the top. But I felt like going down to just half tights would probably make me feel a bit more comfortable, and also, not that it's too much difference, shed a little bit of the weight off. I can't remember exactly what the name of the half tights were that I got. I'll throw it up on screen for you, but I really love these shorts. They've got pockets on both sides and a nice big pocket on the back, which makes it easy for you to carry things like gels, electrolyte tablets, your phone, and a camera if you're like me and take one on the course with you. On top, I used my Hoka racing singlet, which I used for Chicago Marathon. And if you saw my Chicago Marathon video, you will know that that was a very last minute purchase. I actually took a singlet with me, burnt it with the iron by accident, trying to iron on a name, and had to go get one last second the night before the race. For nutrition in the race, I took 2 energy gels with me. They're actually homemade energy gels. It's a recipe I've been working on for a little while. The plan will be eventually to hopefully sell them on the open market, but for now I'm just ironing out sort of the recipe, playing with flavors, playing with taste, textures, consistency, etc. I think I've got it there nearly, but yeah, there's some things that I want to tweak around. Like for example, on this one, I took an electrolyte gel with me, 1 electrolyte gel and 1 normal gel. The electrolyte gel, it works fine, but it needs a bit of tweaking with the flavour. So each of those gels are around 242 calories each and have about 62 grams of carbs each as well. Usually I would split that into 2 gels, but because I'm making it myself and I've put 2 gels into 1 packet. So really, if you want to look at it, it's 4 gels that I took. I'll usually take a gel, or in this case half a gel, at the start line, and then I'll take 1 gel, or in this case half a gel, every 5 kilometers during the race. For my running watch, I use the Garmin Fenix 6X Pro. It's a watch that I've used for many years now, and it's not giving me any problems. The only time it's given me problems, which I'll go over in a bit, is when I try and use some of the smarter functions on it, like the Pace Pro plan. That's everything I was taking with me on race day, apart from my camera, which is just the GoPro Hero 10. I do want to upgrade to an Insta360, but as I say, with a newborn, I don't really have the most money at the moment to be splashing out on a new camera. If you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know I've got a newborn baby at the moment. He's making things very difficult in the sleep department. So to try and combat this, me and my wife sort of made a deal. I'd go to bed at 8 o'clock and she would stay up with him and do the night feeds. At 3 o'clock, we'd switch over. I'd start doing the feeds, at which point I'd had about 7 hours worth of sleep. And then during, in between the feeds, I could get a little bit more sleep in there as well. So Sunday morning, I'd had probably the best sleep I've had since he was born, and I was able to get up nice and early, get myself awake, have a coffee, and sort myself out ready for the race. Even though I had plenty of time to get myself ready and I'd prepped everything the night before, I was somehow still running a little bit late, so I had to eat my food on the way in the car. I just had 3 crumpets in the morning. I usually switch between things like muffins, crumpets or bagels. I like to keep it nice and easy in the morning. I like to do a lot of my eating the day before. Because I don't want to have a full stomach while going around on the course. Race day morning, and I got all of my gear on, put a jacket on over the top, and got my bag ready for the bag drop. On the way to the race, as I say, I had some crumpets in the car, and then at the start of the race, as I say, I had half of one of my energy gels. On race day, I like to get to the race HQ about an hour or 2 hours early. It just gives me time to sort out all of my gear, make sure I've got everything that I need, and obviously go to the toilet a few times before the race. I've done Brentwood Half Marathon before, so I thought 1 hour would give me enough time to get all of my stuff ready and to go to the toilet, but on the day, I was slightly late. I was waiting around taking a picture with the Pitsy Running Club, the club that I run for, and also got stuck in toilet queues, which left me only about 2 minutes to get from the toilets to the start of the line. And that brings us to the start of the race. As I said, I was running a little bit late, only had a couple minutes, and everyone was lining up ready for the gun to go off. I was trying to push my way to the front to get by the 125 pacer. However, I couldn't quite make it to him before the gun went off. Because of this, I ended up stuck in a crowd going over the start line. As you can see in the footage here, it was quite congested and I wasn't really able to start putting my foot down until about 500 meters into the race. But once we got past that, it really opened up, and then after that there was no issues with congestion at all. It was just that first part where my mistake, I got caught up. So for a half marathon race, I like to break it down into 4 lots of 5k with a 1k sprint at the end. So I like to think of it as the first 5k is the warm-up, the second is that you're settling it into the pace that you want to run, the third you're just hanging in there trying to make sure that you don't slow down, and the fourth is just getting to the finish, giving it the rest of the energy you've got. The last K can be a sprint. As Nick Bester says, the last kilometre doesn't count. So yeah, giving it all in that last kilometre, but for the first 20, breaking it down into nice easy sections. So section number 1, the first 5k, we came in at 19:37. Now this is too quick for the goal pace that I wanted to go at, which is 4:05 a kilometre. I should be going slower than that, but there was a lot of downhill in this first 5k. Pretty much all of it was downhill, so I knew I could push the pace, bank some time, and get away with doing that. Whereas usually that's a really unwise thing to do during a race, but for this particular course, it made sense to do that. And to be honest, I felt great during this first 5k, and I don't think it hurt me at all. So I think I played it right for this 5k. For the second 5k, I came in a little bit slower, just under 21 minutes, which is a lot more like the pace that I wanted to run. But obviously, as I say, we'd banked a lot of time, so it didn't matter too much that I was a little bit below the pace that I wanted to be. I was settling in nicely, had a few hills to get through, but we got through it and we felt okay. I did start to have some thoughts in my head along the lines of, do you really think you can do this? I'm not too sure if we can carry this all the way, but I thought, let's just get through it. The third 5k came in a little bit quicker, about 20 minutes and 30 seconds ish. I'll throw it up on screen so you can see. But yeah, felt a lot better during this third 5k. I think some of the gels I'd taken had started to kick in, and I'd also started to get a bit competitive and started trying to pick people off during the race. For the fourth and final 5k segment, I did manage to keep a consistent pace. I run roughly the same as I did in the last 5k. I saw a few more people who I actually knew from the Pitsy Club who I wanted to get in front of, and managed to just get in front of them, ready for the sprint finish up the hill at the end.
1k left, just got to get up the hill.
As I mentioned at the start, a lot of the first 5k is downhill, the rest of it was a bit undulating, and then the final kilometre is a nice uphill stretch. So started to really give it my all up this last 1 kilometre incline. I know that once you get to the top of the hill it's quite flat, so I thought let's just push hard as we can and get up this hill. I looked at my watch and I knew I was on pace for the goal that I had in mind, so I just had to make sure I didn't die going up this hill, but I felt pretty good, so I didn't think that was going to happen. We got to the top and turned the corner to get to the finish line, and as I started sprinting I realised I'd gone a bit too early. There was actually one more turn before the finish line, but we turned around the final corner, the actual final corner. I saw the finish line, gave it a great sprint. There was a good crowd there, high fives along the way, and we managed to squeeze ourselves over the line in 1:26.09. Now, as I say, I was hoping for a sub 1:26, but to be honest with you, until I saw my time afterwards, I thought I had done that. I was checking my watch regularly, and I'd set up a Pace Pro plan, which I'd set at 1:25.55, and my watch was telling me I was about 10 seconds in front of the pace. So when I got to the end and realised I was actually a bit over, I was slightly confused, but obviously the real time is the real time and your watch isn't so accurate, so can't be trusting that anymore. For Brighton, I'm definitely not going to be using any kind of Pace Pro plan. I'm going to write my splits on my arm and just use a timer. Nevertheless, we got over the line with a new personal best, and we managed to shave about 1:30 off of that. So really happy with that, especially considering this being my B goal race and the marathon being my A goal. I didn't want to give 100% to this race. It's only 2 weeks apart, so didn't want to come out feeling sore and then ruin my taper weeks leading up to the marathon. So decided to give it about 80% effort. So I think with 100% effort we could have shaved that time down even more. I've got nothing booked in, but I think I will try and get something booked in for a half marathon later on this year, where I can really put my foot down and give it 100%, and hopefully leading up to that I can do a bit of specific half marathon training and we can see how much we can bring that time down by. But yeah, managed to get the PB, really happy with that. So yeah, we'll take that, and we'll take that as being fitter than we ever have been, which gives me a lot of confidence going into Brighton Marathon. Post race, I didn't do too much while at the finish line, just got my stuff, went home, and then once home got showered, did a bit of stretching, took the rest of the day nice and easy. Just went to a friend's house for dinner, didn't have any drinks. Usually I like to have a bit of a celebration drink after, but I want to make sure I get a good recovery leading up to Brighton Marathon. So thought I would be designated driver and not do that. But yeah, just had a nice roast dinner, relaxed, and then went to bed early. I took the day off after from running as a rest day. I was going to do a bit of a shakeout after, but I could feel that I was quite tight, so just did a bit more stretching and took it nice and easy just to promote recovery. That's going to do it for this video. We're now into the taper weeks for Brighton Marathon, and we're less than 2 weeks away from race day. So I'll be sure to do a breakdown of how that race goes. Fingers crossed we'll be able to cross the line and be a sub 3 hour marathoner, but we'll see when the time comes. Thank you for watching, and a special thank you to all of you who have stuck around to the end. Please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content. Also, comment down below if you've got any races coming up, what your goals are and how you're feeling about it. I know it can be quite stressful leading up to a race, so let me know. I'll reply and we can have a little chat about it. But until next time, see you later.